Hi, Miss Marion here. Let's go ahead and turn to page 123. Let's read the I can statement for lesson 10 is what we're doing for right now. I can draw a line on a grid with a given slope, and I can find the slope of a line on a grid. Go ahead and write yourself a sentence on how you feel about these, and then give yourself number 1, I don't know what you're talking about. 2, I'm a little confused. 3, I got it. And then 4, I can teach it to my friend. So go ahead and do your sentence and your number. Once you've written your sentence and your number, let's go ahead and turn to page 85. And you're going to answer this question. Write some numbers that are equal to 5 over 12. So pretty much you're going to kind of be writing this as fractions or decimals of 5 divided by 12. Go ahead and pause right now. Go write down some numbers that are equal to those. All right, now since you've been given a couple of seconds to go ahead and write down some numbers that are fractions or decimals of 15 divided by 12, let's go ahead and do some. So we can write this as, well, of course, 15 over 12, okay? And if I wanted to reduce 15 over 12 down as simplest as possible and leave it as an improper fraction, I can do it as 5 over 4. I can take 3 out of both of them, right? I can also kind of multiply both of these by 2, top and bottom, and make it 10 over 8. I also can take the 5 over 4 and multiply it by 10 and get 50 over 40. I could actually divide all of these out and get 1.25. So we have fractions and decimals of 5 divided by 12. Because we're going to be dealing with fractions today, and that's why it's getting our brains up and going on this. So if I was in class, I would actually kind of have you do this on your computer, but right now the link's not working if I try to do it on a video. So what I did is, can you match these triangles? And so what you can do is slide the blue one up to the green one, and it matches, and I actually did that, so I'm going to actually go ahead and show you that. All right, sorry that was all kind of wobbly. It's what I'm able to go ahead and do. And I'm going to play it one more time. And notice how the blue triangle, I can slide it up. And it goes ahead. And it will sit on top of the green. And they match. And then I can slide it back down. And it ends up being the blue itself. So what we're doing is we're looking at these triangles and we're seeing that I can kind of slide it along this line, and those are similar triangles, right? One smaller than the other, but this is kind of an idea that we're going to use in a second, okay? So let's go ahead and let's turn our page, our workbook to page 86. And on here, we're dealing with similar triangles on the same line. So as you can see, the blue and the green before the triangles, they are similar triangles. They're on the same line, and we are going to kind of be working with different things. And so we are actually going to be filling in this whole table that's down on the bottom. Normally, if we were in class, I would give you different sections, but unfortunately, you have to do it all together right now. And so what we're going to do is we have triangle ABC. We have the vertical side. So remember that vertical is up and down. Okay. Horizontal is side to side. So let's look at triangle ABC. So we have triangle ABC, right? We need the vertical, we need the horizontal, and then vertical divided by horizontal. So vertical, remember, was up and down. So that is 3. Horizontal is side to side. That is 4. And then let's write it as division. So we're going to have 3 divide 4. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause right now, go ahead and fill in the rest of this table, and then we'll go ahead and talk about it further. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of them. So we're looking at triangle CDE. So we have triangle CDE. We are looking for the vertical, which is 6. Horizontal, well, that wasn't labeled, so let's go find it. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Write it as a fraction. 6 divide 8. And then let's look at triangle FGH up here. So we have our vertical, and it's up here. So it's 1.5. So our vertical is 1.5. 1.5, sorry, my pen's not working correctly. And neither is my eraser. Let's try it one more time. So we have 1.5, okay? And then our horizontal is 2. And so we can do 1.5. Now, if we actually do all of these, 3 divided by 4, and we put it in our calculator, if we do 3 divided by 4, we're going to get 0.75. If we do 6 divided by 8, we're going to get 0.75. And if we do 1.5 divided by 2, we're going to get 0.75. So we have the table, and it is completed. And then here is a better look at that table. So if you're hard to kind of see that, again, here is our table filled in. So in our next activity, again, we need to remember that we have our vertical, and then we have our horizontal. In the yellow triangle, we can have our vertical and also our horizontal. And so we're going to kind of keep this idea. And so these are similar triangles. They're just kind of along this line, and so we can still find the vertical and horizontal of both the yellow triangle and the blue triangle. So the vertical over the horizontal, so we have vertical over the horizontal, is also known as the slope of a triangle. So we have the distance of the vertical over the distance of the horizontal. Again, this is known as the slope. Go ahead and write this down on page 86 down on the bottom, because we're going to use this definition in a second. So on page 87, it says draw the lines, 2 lines with slope 3. What do you notice about the 2 lines? So remember that our slope is vertical over horizontal. So what I want you to do is draw 2 lines with slope 3. So go ahead and pause right now. Go ahead and draw those 2 lines. Now that you have drawn the 2 lines with slope of 3, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I know that we're trying to do a slope of 3. I'm going to change my color. So I have a slope of 3, and I need a vertical and a horizontal. So my 3 is, well, I can make that a fraction. I know I can do 3 divided by 1 is the same as 3. So I'm going to do a vertical of 3. I'm going to start here and go 1, 2, 3. And a horizontal of 1. And I'm going to connect those together. Okay? And then I'm going to try it one more time. I know that I can also write this as 6 divided by 2. And so I'm going to go ahead and try that. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So these are my 2 lines with slope of 3. Well, what do I notice? They're kind of the same. They're actually the same. They're just 2 parallel lines next to each other. Now let's go ahead and I want you to draw 2 lines with a slope of 1/2. So go ahead and pause for right now and go ahead and draw 2 lines with a slope of 1/2. Now that you have drawn a slope of 1/2, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So again, I know my 1 is my vertical and my 2 is the horizontal. And I'm going to have something kind of like this. And again, I know that I can also write it as 2 over 4 and multiply the top and bottom by 2, right? So I can do up to and over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. And again, I'm going to have something kind of like this. And I'm going to erase out my oopsie. So I have this line and these two. What do I notice? Oh, they're kind of the same. They're those parallel lines that are exactly the same. They're just in 2 different spots. Let's go ahead and turn to page 88. On page 88, you have this picture. Here are several lines. Number 1, match each line shown with a slope from the list. So I have 1/3, 2, 1, 0.25, 3 over 2, and 1 over 2. And then one of these slopes don't match. Draw this line of the slope itself. So I want you to go ahead and pause. It will take you a couple of minutes to go ahead and do this, but go ahead and pause, and then let's kind of figure it out which one is which. Now that you had some time to go ahead and go through this, let's go through and see which one is which. Now remember, I like to go ahead and write down my definitions that I know. So remember, my slope is a vertical over horizontal. And I'm going to look at A. So how far is my vertical? So I'm looking at how far is it up and down. If I go ahead and count those, that is 3. How far is my horizontal? Side to side, let's count it. That is 2. So A, the slope is 3 over 2. Let's look at B. How far is my vertical? Let's count it. 1, 2. How far is my horizontal? Side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, it's vertical, which is 2 over 6. Well, that's not part of my list. But remember, we can always reduce down a fraction. And 2 over 6 wants to be skinny. We can make it 1 over 3. Okay, that's part of my list. So we've done 3 over 2. We've done 1 over 3. Let's look at C. How far is my vertical? Let's go ahead and count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How far is my horizontal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vertical is 5. Horizontal is 5. Oh, yeah, I need to reduce that down. I can reduce that down to 1. So that is all on my list. Awesome. Okay, let's look at D. So D, I don't have like this triangle on there, but I can make a triangle. So it looks like the ones on the top. So I'm going to kind of look at this here. So what I did is I picked points on my line that's on the grid, and it's really nicely. Now let's look at the horizontal. So now let's go ahead and let's look at the vertical. So how far is it up and down? So 1, 2, 3, 4. How far is my horizontal? 1, 2. Okay, so then we're going to have vertical over horizontal. 4 divided by 2. I can reduce that down. If I put in my calculator, that is 2. Awesome. That's this one here. Now let's look at E. So E, I need to go ahead and I need to look at, I need to make a triangle, like a slope triangle. And I'm going to go ahead and make it like this. So see how I picked points that are on the line, but also on the grid. So one here and one there. How far is my vertical? That's 1. Now let's go ahead and let's look at our horizontal. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So our horizontal is 4. So our slope is the vertical 1 over horizontal. And let's go ahead and look at the list that we have. We have 0.25 and then we'll have 1 over 2. 1 over 2 is not 1/4. And then 0.25, if I divide 1 over 4, if I divide it out, make it a decimal, it is 0.25. So that is actually the 0.25. So then number 2 says one of the slopes does not have a line to match. Draw this slope. So let's go ahead and do 1 over 2. So again, kind of like how we did it before, I'm going to go up 1 over 2 and then connect those together. So this is what we should have on page 88. So again, as far as what we're looking at today, what we are understanding is which is slope. So remember, we have our slope, and that is our vertical over horizontal. And we can do that with any, so this is called a slope triangle. We can do it with any triangle that's on any line here. We can do it with the yellow one. We can also do it with the blue one. And if we reduce our fractions down, which fractions always want to be reduced down, they'll actually be the same slope. So let's go ahead and turn to page 89. Down on the bottom on page 89, we have the glossary terms. Will you go ahead and do a definition for slope? Here is mine. This is very, very mathematical. You need to put it in your words and what you understand what slope actually means. So go ahead and pause right now and go ahead and write your definition down. Once we have our definition on page 88, let's go back to page 123. Let's go ahead and write a sentence to ourselves about the I can statement. So I can draw a line on a grid with a given slope, and I can find the slope of a line on a grid. Write yourself a sentence on how you feel about today's lesson. Give yourself a number between 1 and 4. 1, I don't really get it. 2, I kind of got it. 3, I really got it. But then 4, I can also teach it to my friend. Go ahead and do that. And this is our lesson. So make sure you go ahead and do the practice problems that go along with this. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.